Trees swaying in the summer breeze, showing off their silver leaves as we walked by. Soft kisses on a summer's day, laughing all our cares away, just you and I.
Alice, we are pressure-free here. We are going to embrace the serenity, regardless of what's happening in the outside world. Care of Chad and Jeremy right there. Alice, you're familiar with a summer song?
Mm-mm.
Do you not know the song?
They say that all good things must end someday.
I don't know this song, no.
How McCartney does it sound like?
Leaves must fall.
It's beautiful.
But don't you know?
It's beautiful. It's a beautiful song. It's one of these Mercy Beatles wave, Beatles Mania wave. I think it's a cover of an American song, but they're very Lennon McCartney and very Everly Brothers. And that song is just beautiful and perfect. It's a perfect, serene summer song. People who aren't 75 will know it from the Rushmore soundtrack, which is probably within the last 10 CDs I bought. Of course, I stopped buying them around 2001.
I don't know what that is either.
Yeah. Are you joking?
No.
You don't know what a CD is?
No.
I will throw you out of the house.
Rushmore
Okay. You don't know the movie Rushmore?
No.
It's new. It came out like 99.
I don't know what that is. No.
You don't know the movie Rushmore with Bill Murray. It's one of the Wachowski brothers movies, the ones that aren't funny, like the Darjeeling Express and the Great Brovanovich.
I feel like I've entered an alternate
You don't know these
reality. I don't know what
movies?
you're talking about.
Yes, you do. What are all the movies that? What's Bill Murray in that's really cool? The Great Kataplinsky, Rushmore.
I don't
Alice,
know.
you know these movies.
No, I don't.
Your generation thinks they're awesome, and they all suck. Come on.
I missed it. I don't know.
The one where they're on Jason Schwartzman.
Okay.
The one where they're on the train in India. Luke Wilson's in them. They did
I did
Bottle
not
Rocket.
see these, no.
I'm mad at you.
I don't know what it is.
You don't even know. That's not even my generation. This is younger than me.
I don't know about it.
You learn about it now.
I don't know about
There's
it.
no way you don't know the Great Teflonsky where they're all in gear.
All
right.
Gear?
Well, this is taking a turn today.
Okay.
Okay. Rush.
Now the real tragedy has happened to
directors
Tom. Okay.
That I have to go down this stupid rabbit hole. Wes Anderson.
Oh.
Oh.
I've heard of that, but I've never watched a Wes Anderson movie.
How do you know that you haven't watched it? And where have you been if you haven't watched it?
I just haven't watched any of those.
Yes, you
Just
have.
not
You've
my
seen them
thing.
all.
You've
seen them all.
It's too like twee. I've seen like screenshots of them on the
Twee?
internet, but I don't watch that. I just haven't
There
seen
is
any
no
of that.
way. You are so trying to be cool right now.
I'm not.
It was way too twee for me.
I just haven't
The
seen
hell is
any
even
of these.
twee?
That's not what I just.
What is even twee?
It's just a word. Look it up.
What is Wes Anderson's aesthetic? I guess it says Art Nouveau. He's a jerk aesthetic.
Okay. Well, anyway, I haven't
All right.
watched.
Well, get
those,
ready because you're about to know these movies. Accidentally, Wes Anderson. Okay, I got a problem with that. Obviously, Wes Anderson.
I have seen the accidentally Wes Anderson subreddit on Reddit. I have that. I'm familiar with, but so I'm aware of the aesthetic, but I don't.
Okay,
I have not seen any of the movies. So
Fantastic Mr. Fox. I think we saw that.
Oh, I have seen that with the kids, or at least part of it.
The Grand Budapest Hotel, probably with 8 overactors.
Nope.
The Darjeeling Unlimited. You and I saw some of this together.
I didn't.
It's A-holes on a train with an interesting soundtrack.
I don't remember it if I saw a part of it.
Isle of Dogs.
Nope.
How about this? I know you've seen The Life Aquatic.
Nope.
There's no way you haven't.
I haven't seen The Life Aquatic. I wouldn't even be able to pick it out of a lineup. I don't know what it is.
She's Funny That Way.
Nope.
Bottle Rocket. That's from '96. You weren't alive then. Rushmore.
Nope.
That's one that you should know. No. Are you happy that you don't know all these things you should know?
I just don't know about it.
I just want you to know them and then know to hate them, except for the soundtrack.
Well, I just didn't know I was supposed to.
Well, you're not ever watching any movies in this house again.
Okay. All right.
Everything I do for the family today, went to the Market Basket Rotten section, and for $6, I got a cake that feeds 30. Truly.
Lucky us.
Truly. It actually tastes a little bit like pickerel, to be honest, which you don't know about, along with all the other memories that you should have. The taste of pickerel. It's probably best that you don't. It tastes like pickerel. My brother would know. My brother would know. All right, Alice, what's going on today? So we're not going to talk about the obvious. We saw ourselves in this slow conveyor belt into the man-made tragedy that is man-made criminal tragedy that is Afghanistan, where now there's 13 Americans got blown up today by some a-hole in a suicide vest.
And like 18 still wounded.
And like 74 Afghans. Others people got 70, pretty standard stuff.
And then 150 wounded.
And, we saw it coming, knew what would happen. Of course, it's happening now. And the administration, the Oak Tree came out today, and he was like, we're going to follow you to the gates of hell. And then he said that they were going to double down, and we weren't going to give up on this mission. There's no mission, by the way. There's no mission. This is like
right, because they're like, we're getting people out, but don't come to the airport.
This is like an exploratory group into looking into revisiting NAFTA meeting in Ottawa, where somehow that whole entire city explodes. There was no mission. There was no, oh my God, we got to pull out of this bloody conflict. There was nothing. It's an unforced error. They've made a human catastrophe where there was none. That's what this administration did. And now we're just seeing it play out like we have called it since day one. And it's going to play out in the lives of Americans. And more will die, and more will die, and more will die as the next days and weeks come. And this administration, there is nobody who's willing to stand up and say, hey, we're effing up here. They're pretending that the press is asking them questions as if this is legitimate anymore. The administration continues to be less legitimate by the moment. I think the infrastructure bill is going to die.
It had better. What would they even be thinking trying to pass an infrastructure bill right now? Are they nuts?
I think Pelosi knows it's dead. And
how do they? But like Pelosi went out there today and gave a speech about Women's Equality Day.
What has happened here?
This is insane world.
Is remarkable. This is a long campaign. So much into the Biden administration. There's so much effort in so many levels, from ground level to local offices to little people running for local offices to marketing firms who are attached to the campaign, the Democratic movement, et cetera. And we've just seen today, we've seen them at the top this week shoot themselves in the head, this administration. And it's a kind of thing where you've got people, the fallout from it, there are too many people aghast and saying, oh, it's all over. This guy's over.
Well, right. And like the liberal politics people just can't believe it because they're still trying to be like, oh, we're still going to get paid family leave in the infrastructure bill and stuff.
Right. But what we've got here is that somehow, out of nowhere, this administration achieved one of the most historic, grand-scale fuck-ups in the history of the United States. Unnecessary. This isn't Remember the Maine. This isn't the Gulf of Tonkin. This is disastrous.
Well, because a month ago they were getting asked, is the Taliban now going to take over the country? And they were like, no. Absolutely not. That's not going to happen. Well, do you trust the Taliban? No, we don't trust the Taliban. Is that even a serious question? That's ridiculous. The Taliban's not going to take over the country. Absolutely not. And then we went from that to, well, the Taliban might take over the country, but it's not going to happen very fast. To, well, that happened faster than we thought, but it's going to be fine. We'll get everybody out.
Palace, before that happened much faster than we thought. Before that, we had already begun applauding for ourselves, the administration, already begun talking about how huge and grand and historic this was. Already we started to roll out the red carpet for ourselves, which has now been just taken over by parading Taliban. It's crazy. In this last week, you're right. What happened this last week? To say, all right, looks like we'll have 30 to 60 days, and I heard one person say, we'll probably have till the end of the year. Okay, they're here, and they run the place now. Wow. I mean,
Yeah, and we went from, of course I don't trust the Taliban, to the Taliban running our security. And everyone went, are you serious? The Taliban is running security for the airport to get Americans out of the country. The Taliban that harbored the Al-Qaeda terrorists who killed 3,000 Americans in one day and destroyed
Right.
the buildings. That Taliban? Is that the same people that we're
yes.
talking about? And they're like, yes. And so then everyone's like, well, that seems like a really bad idea. Doesn't it seem like Americans are going to die? Don't worry, we're going to get Americans out. Nobody's dying. It's fine. We're like, there are definitely people dying. Oh, but just Afghans, not Americans. Well, okay, well, now Americans are dead, and they're still being like, I mean, I'm not trying to sit here and say, like, we all told you so, but, like, literally everybody saw this coming and has been saying that this was coming, and the administration has been pretending this wasn't coming, and now that it's here, they're just, like, I can't understand it.
No, and this is...
They're still acting like there's not a problem and we're leaving Afghanistan.
Yes.
Today was the single deadliest day for American troops in Afghanistan since 2011. In more than 10 years, we haven't had this many Americans die in one day. And it's 100% because of what you called it, an unforced error. This was absolutely not necessary to go about this in this way.
No.
And people have had a lot of suggestions of other things that could be done to make this situation better. Now, for 2 weeks, people have been saying stuff that should be happening, like Bagram or like, I mean, but we're just sitting here being like, oh, the Taliban's got it under control. It's fine. We're going to send them a strongly worded letter if they screw anything up. And they let a suicide bomber through their outer perimeter and into where our troops were screening people, and he blew them all up. Like,
right, and you've got the Biden messaging legion has taken this rear guard position now, where you've heard once respected thinkers, almost all of them on the left, now giving you a final, the final kind of final analysis of the Biden administration, saying first of all, he is much more sober and competent than the guy before him. He's this, he's that, he's decent. He's been through a lot. He's lost it. And they're doing this it's not even an analysis. It's this last moral inventory where they're saying he has so many good things before you bury him. You should know this. And that means they're just out of any other defense. On the merits, they can no longer, this is indefensible.
That he came out and talked about Beau Biden as the first thing he came out and talked about tells you that he knows it's indefensible too.
Right. He's
like,
I know
excuse me, I'm going to take
yeah.
my dead son out and use him as a human shield to deflect any criticism here because I just got 13 American service members killed right now.
And then you've got some other media saying, if you think that this is a matter of Joe Biden's policy in Afghanistan, you're kidding yourself. Like, this totally 180 degree in the opposite direction. You know, if you think I just hit on your wife, you are absolutely insane, sir, as you have your hand in our shirt. It's like, okay, but you did. You can put on this absolutely, this stunned, shocked, and chagrined attitude in these columns, saying, if you're going to dare suggest this is a joke, right? I get the psychology behind it, trying to push as much momentum with persuasion as possible, but I'm sorry. Yes, it is exactly what you're saying, almost saying it is, but adding negatives in there. It is.
Well, yeah, it's
and the way it falls apart, Allison, I was just like, the way I say it is this. Guy and girl meet in college. They fall in love. They date after college. They both get professional jobs. They date to become the parents. These parents meet those parents. Those parents meet this parents. They everybody gets along. They go on vacation. The parents go together. They get engaged. It's a huge thing. They're gifted the summer house from dad's family and this and that, and they get a car and it's wonderful, and it's a wonderful, beautiful thing that's happening. And all the extended family goes to the wedding on both sides, and they're dancing, and they're doing the stupid chicken dance, and the limbo things there. And they're talking about, you need to come to the Cape House. No, you need to come to the Wyoming place with us, and this, and the family's got it together forever. And you think about, maybe there's a chance that this guy, the brother of the groom, is an interesting guy who might be good in business, to be a salesman for the other cousin Bill's.
Yep. Is this going somewhere?
Right, cousin Bill's medical sales, and it's like, and you've got all this, and it's such a happy night, and everything is perfect. You've got all these relationships built all around, all this momentum, and even the families together, the forward up, better and better, the up and at them goal of being of spreading this dream and getting better and moving through. It's a time for reflection. It's perfect. It's fantastic. And then, at 11:15, somebody describes the groom having sex with somebody in the coatroom,
right,
who's not his wife. And then you hear about it, and suddenly the wife finds out, and she's shocked, and everybody in the room is shocked. And then you have to take an inventory and say, wait a second. As of right now, on paper, nothing has changed. As of right now, on paper, nothing has changed. But in all actuality, even though as of right now, okay.
Take it out of the room, bud.
Even though as of right now, on paper, nothing has changed, and her family's still there, and their family's still there. In fact, and you're sharing a table with, the father of the bride and the father of the groom are sharing a table, and they've bonded and all this stuff and all these two family institutions, whatever. In fact, it is over.
Ask Sally and James. They can do it.
No, you can do it. I know.
Asshole. Sorry.
That's great, Tom.
Sorry. In fact, okay, can you go now? Can you go? I've spent 48 minutes building up a story that's only okay.
Mom, can you turn this down?
Oh.
And see a bit?
Okay, it's good. It's good. So that's what it is. It's like you've got all these interests, and it's such a huge thing, and that's what it must be for, like, Democrats right now, is it knowing that, in a sense, this is over. And all this stuff and all the dreams and all the ideas of what it would be, etc. We're all still sitting here. We're still going to press briefings. We still have a meeting every day. We still do this and that. But
there's no administration there.
No, it's over now. It's all that could have been is done now. It's just self-inflicted, and it is now.
Well, right, and
over.
I don't understand the framing. Like, people are being like, oh, it's really hard to get Americans to care about foreign policy, and the election's a long time away. It's going to be hard for Republicans to remind people of this in the midterms. Like, do they not understand? I mean, I know a lot of people that aren't very political that are glued to the TV right now saying, oh my God, I cannot believe that this is happening. This isn't, I mean, no, it's not quite 9/11, but it's a lot bigger than January 6th. I don't know if we're allowed to say that, but it's a lot bigger than January 6th. And I don't think this disappears for people. And I mean, it's also not over right now.
Exactly.
But even if this were it, even if it were just these 2 weeks and now, like, everything settled down and they got everybody out and nothing else happened in Afghanistan, there were no more headlines coming out of Afghanistan for the next year, like, I still think this is really, really damaging, and just the way that they've handled it is damaging, and Biden's total incompetence and lack of awareness of what's going on around him is incredibly damaging.
I totally agree. And it's damaging as well because it's not just the horrific bombing today that killed 13 Americans and maybe more will die. It's all of the steps of either stubbornness, incompetence, weakness, cowardice, opportunism, all of the things that would have come together over the past months that got us here. Shows that there were such institutional F-ups that the entire administration is broken. They're all nobody has any more. Everybody is complicit in this.
Right. There's been no accountability. No one's resigned. No one's been fired. No one's taken any responsibility except for mouthing the words like, the buck stops at my desk, I take responsibility. I mean, because when you sit here and you say, yes, of course I take responsibility. I take responsibility for how great everything's going. That's not really taking responsibility. And the fact that he said today, when he came out there, he said that, this just reaffirms to him that we need to get out of the country, and we needed to end
I hope he doesn't think we need to get out of other countries if based on this. Let us know if you want to get us out of Germany so everybody can know to hit the deck. I mean, for the fact that he said a week ago, No one died, George. Knock on wood. Knock on wood.
Well, yeah, and the fact that everybody was saying, people are gonna die if you continue to run this operation this way, and he said, no, it's not. Nobody's dying. It's fine. And now people died, and he's like, this just reaffirms that I'm doing exactly the right thing, and I'm doing a great job. Like, it's just so at odds with reality that I don't see how you can lead. And I think that a lot of people, like a lot more people than normal partisan political stuff, are really, really mad about this, because it just seems so callous and so uncaring. I mean, if you are sitting here and telling us that the country's not going to fall and it's going to be fine and Afghanistan is going great, and then the country falls within 11 days, and you would think that there would be, at that point, even just right there, you would think there would be some self-reflection and some thought about, like, am I doing the right thing? Did I make the right decision? And then you would think that, when you say that we have great over-the-horizon capabilities to detect terror attacks that are coming, and we're going to be able to prevent them just fine, and then 13 possibly more Americans die in a terrorist attack the following week in the country where you're telling us that you have plenty of capabilities to detect terror attacks. You would think that would prompt some self-reflection and some thoughts about how things are going here. You would think that this would prompt self-reflection about the Taliban and their abilities or willingness to run airport security for the United States of America. But this is what everybody's been saying all along, and he's clearly so dug in and decided that this is going to be his legacy, getting us out of Afghanistan, that he's not willing to consider any other information that's coming his way. He's not willing to take into account any of the events that happened. He's going to stick to his guns, and he's going to drag us out of the country no matter how many people have to die in Kabul at the airport there in order to make his legacy of getting us out of Afghanistan happen. It's sick and it's screwed up. And I think that a lot of people, including a lot of people who wanted us out of Afghanistan, are really unhappy with the administration right now. And I don't think it's going to go away because they're not taking it seriously still at this point in time. There's still hundreds, maybe thousands of Americans in the country. 9/11 is coming up.
Yeah,
I don't have a ton of confidence in our ability to detect terror threats. Do you?
Sorry, I'm winded. Went upstairs. Yeah, I saw Jen Psaki today, and I thought, Alice, that she looked ashen. And I understand how you would, but I think that when you're a messaging professional, as it is, and you see this, and you see that... Oh, it does?
Oh, Tom's getting a present. He has been gifted a hat.
Oh, nice. Thank you. That's nice. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
You did tell them it's your birthday.
Oh, that's right. That's right. I did tell them it's my birthday. And I celebrated my 5th birthday today because the kids weren't there for my other 5th birthday. So it's a long story. What was I saying?
I don't know, something about Jen Psaki, looking ashen.
Right, and I think that she's seeing, although she's going to be a good, dutiful communications person till the very end. As the ship goes down, she will be playing the song. But I think she knows that that this is unfixable. But you can't. There's no good messaging for this. I mean, you could go through the routine every day, but there's no good messaging for this.
I mean, do you think there's any chance that something comes? I mean, now obviously all of Congress or all the Republicans in like the Senate are saying that Biden should be impeached for this, right?
Which he should, absolutely.
And obviously there are moderates, who voted for Trump's impeachment and whatever, like Kinzinger and Liz Cheney, who are livid about the way this has gone down. Even like the McCains, like Meghan McCain's all mad about this, even though she endorsed Biden, obviously. And So I guess she's the only like honest never Trumper because she's like the only one out there who's
Well,
saying
she
this
had a
is
legit
terrible.
reason for hating Trump.
Well, yeah,
You know,
he attacked her dad.
Right. So they're dying and then dead. Plus, she's a McCain, and the old man is a hothead, and I'm sure she keeps a grudge.
So, but she's not pleased about this. Like, so
No.
there's a lot of moderate people that I think if they did do an impeachment, it would put a lot of pressure on a lot of moderate Democrats from swing districts because, like, look at like a Seth Moulton.
So
Don't you think a Seth Moulton would be inclined to like, or though he's probably not under pressure to do so, but don't you think he would be inclined to like consider an impeachment thoughtfully and not just out of hand reject it because he's a Democrat and Biden's a Democrat?
I think he would, but yes, I think he would. But because,
so I mean, do you think there's
he's
a chance now
he's
impeachment?
a man on an island, you know.
Do you think there would be but there are other moderate Democrats in the country who would be under pressure because this is the Biden administration is in a lot of trouble political polling wise, you know, and a lot of these reps are, you know, in close districts and stuff and worry about these things, only won their seats by a few votes. And I mean, I think that an impeachment could have him in real political trouble. Do you? Or do you think there's no chance? Because I don't know. Kamala's flying back to Washington right now. I think there's a possibility of the 25th Amendment thing happening too, where they pull him out. Because between like Kamala, you have to think that Millie and Austin are pissed at him.
I don't know about the 25th Amendment, Alice. I mean, I think the problem is
He doesn't seem like he's all there.
No,
does
I
he?
understand that, but Alice, that's an indictment on them. If they say that they helped facilitate this guy and prop him up and keep it going, and so they did it even though it cost American lives and it's a huge disaster. You know what else it's done? You know what else it has done? And by the way, Moulton, you know, he's looking for any kind of vine to swing to because he's hated by Democrats. He does. There aren't circles where he's respected. It's not as if he's like, you know, our Ben Sass or pick one of those people who
He doesn't have like a tribe. Yeah.
No, and he's an a-hole, and so, but he's looking to be a star, and you know he challenged Pelosi before, so you know maybe
Ran for president.
right, ran for president. Maybe he will be. Maybe he would do something like that. But I think if you're a Democrat and if you're a Biden supporter, you can't say, "Oh, you know, this is suddenly he's non-compos mentis." People have been talking about this for a year and 2 years. You know, I was surprised he ever made it to New Hampshire. But it's just a tough thing. It would be a tough thing to do to do it. But he certainly should be impeached. I mean, 2 or 3 weeks ago when I said he should be impeached for putting the CDC in charge of rental units, in other words, the eviction moratorium, then it seemed to me directly there that he was taking away private rights of citizens using the executive branch, which is going around Congress, and that's precisely where Congress
he knew and acknowledged publicly that it was illegal.
Absolutely, and that's where Congress would correct you and say, "Hey, buddy," and that's where you would impeach somebody. Absolutely.
But the eviction moratorium was popular with Democrats. This
Well,
Afghanistan thing is not popular with Democrats.
But so for me, that was that. Okay, that's impeachable. In the same way, Trump's Ukraine call was impeachable, because Congress had allocated money to the Ukraine, and he got on the phone and said, "Wink, wink," in his own way. You know, to what degree, whatever. But to me, that's good enough. I think impeachment should be used more often. You know, obviously, it would be used in a better country than we have now. But this one is not like a tit for tat. Hey, you got Trump in Ukraine. We should be able to get Biden on landlords. This is a total incompetency. Total. What do you call it? I don't even what you would call his
a catastrophe?
Yeah, I guess catastrophic governance. I guess what it is.
I mean, and inept to the point of, you know, it makes you question if it's being done on purpose, because like, so he acknowledged
You're not the first person who said that.
to a question today. He acknowledged in answer to a question today that we gave the Taliban a list of American citizens and our Afghan allies that we want them to let into the airport. We gave them a list of names.
And you hear these guys,
as
military
we're
guys,
hearing reports that they're going door to door and looking for
Right.
people who helped us. We gave them a list
Yes.
of names. Are you crazy?
I know, and you're hearing these military guys, like the guy who was on today.
Well, this was leaked from within the
No,
administration.
I know, but you hear them you hear Biden say, "I asked them if they had everything they need. I asked them every day, well, do they have everything they need? They tell me yes." And the military guys say, "Yep, well, we have everything you need. It's adequate." When a military guy says he has everything he needs, it's adequate after a bunch of troops died, that means he didn't have everything he needs, and it wasn't adequate. What are these guys going to say? No, we got a moron surrounded by other morons in civilian clothes.
But it really bothers me because I don't know, like in economics classes, right? The armed forces, like national defense, is considered the classic example of a public good, something that the government has to provide because the free market can't provide naturally through economic forces an army that defends you. Like, and I just don't get what liberals think the army's for if it's not for this. If it's not for people who are staying in a country that's supposedly allied with us, where there's a government that's friendly to us and where we have an embassy, and we all of a sudden pull out all our armed forces and the government of that country collapses to anti-American terrorists, what is our army for if not to go get Americans out of that country and keep them safe? Because people on the left right now are acting like it's like some kind of imposition. Like, well, they didn't listen to warnings to come home. It's all their fault. Why should we get them? It's a risk they decided to take. They gambled and lost. Oh, well, tough for them. Now, and like some of them have even put this whole thing, this terror attack, on like Americans who are there. Well, Biden was saying a month ago it was going to be fine in Afghanistan, by the way. Like, we have travel warnings for all sorts of countries, but we don't expect the government to just totally go down to like a bunch of terrorist riffraff in a matter of days. So the fact that there's now Americans trapped there, I mean, that's what we're supposed to use. Like, that's the definition of when you're supposed to use military force, is like to go get those people and get them out of the country, right? Like, not actually to build up a country of Afghanistan. Like,
yes, our position is not to, and Alice, our position is not to take orders and guidance from the Taliban. You don't let the United States Armed Forces be essentially absconded with by the Taliban. You got to check with the Taliban. Checking with the what, band? I mean, the fact that he thinks, and talk about diminished army. You got these guys freaking studying the white anger, white rage. Oh my God! Where is the thing that says "bleep you"?
Yeah, no. The national defense is supposed to have one purpose and one purpose only, and that's to protect Americans from people that want to kill them. That's like the only thing it's there for. And if it's not there for that, I don't know what it's for. I have a bad feeling that Biden feels more comfortable pointing it at January 6th rioters than he feels pointing it at the Taliban. But the whole situation is so bizarre to me, and the way that people are acting about it is so bizarre that I can't. It's difficult for me to wrap my mind around what's going on in Afghanistan right now and the way our government is treating it, and the fact that anybody is left who acts like that's normal. His approval rating is still not low enough, as far as I'm concerned.
U.S. General on the suicide attack in Kabul. ISIS will, quote, continue those attacks. Well, great. And so what does this do, Alice? You talked about the anniversary of September 11th. This single-handedly changes the entire narrative, the 20-year narrative.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is the ending that destroys the previous 19 years.
Yeah.
This is remember, we had a September 10th mentality.
Mm-hmm.
Then September 11th happened. Well, then August 24th happened, and we went back to September 10th. Now it's September 10th again. So it's incredible. You can't even. What are you going to do what are you going to commemorate in September 11th?
I can't.
Yes, you
imagine
guys.
him
They
going
launched
out there.
these wars, and then we went and we did justice, and then the enemy took over again. Now ISIS and they're all back, and they won. Now they won. Oh, great. It's like horrific. I don't want to watch a freaking thing. I don't
want
watch it anyway.
him to go out there
No.
and go to any 9/11 events. I think it's an embarrassment if he would even go to them at this point. Like, it's
they have
terrible.
ruined this, which was supposed to be something that was supposed to play into the PR of the whole thing.
He wanted to pull out on that date before because he thought it was so positive and wonderful. Yeah, I mean, that's what he was thinking with this whole timeline is that he'd be able to commemorate September 11th and say, like, now look, I've brought the troops home. Isn't that wonderful? Like, this was going to be his big win. This was going to be his big legacy is he ended the Afghanistan war that nobody else could end.
So Alice and I now are drowning our sorrows in these beers we got from Market
I don't
Basket.
think you
I don't
can
know
see
that that's
them.
strong, Alice. It's got an Irish name. It's got to be something, right?
I don't know, but I'm depressed. And then, oh, by the way, Jamie B got in touch with us, everybody. Don't worry. He's still alive.
He is dead.
He has not been sent.
That was his killers, his state-sponsored
He
killers.
has not been yet sent to, what's the place called? Well Camp.
Oh, is it really called Well Camp?
It's called
That's great.
Well Camp.
That's great. Absolutely
sorry.
no pain camp. It's
called. It's at an airport called Well Camp. That might have been the name of it beforehand, but it's a really appropriate name for the regional quarantine facility that's now being developed in Queensland. The Queensland government is pushing ahead with its own regional dedicated COVID-19 quarantine facility. This is not what you do when you're thinking a pandemic's going to end sometime soon, by the way. Premier Anastasia Palaszczuk, I don't know how to say her name, announced that on Thursday that the cabinet has approved the project on vacant land owned by the Wagner Corporation just outside Toowoomba, west of Brisbane. The announcement came as the state recorded 2 new cases of COVID-19, both in hotel quarantine. Construction started at the site near Wellcamp Airport on Thursday with 500 beds to be available by the end of the year and a total capacity of 1,000 by March of next year. Construction firm Wagner's first submitted the plan to use its Wellcamp...
It's a lot of Constantina wire for a friendly place called Wellcamp.
So this is
really
going to be
for me to get
instead
out.
of... They've had complaints about their hotel quarantine.
You want to complain about the hotels? No worries. Welcome to Wellcamp.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Jen. Is there any concern that maybe trying to reach this deadline and get everybody out, mistakes are being made now that there is a report that at least one of the Afghans evacuated to Qatar has suspected ISIS ties?
Well, first I would say we have a stringent vetting process which includes background checks before any individual comes to the United States. So I can't speak to one individual, but I can tell you and confirm for you that we take the vetting of any individual who comes to the United States and comes out incredibly seriously. And it's an extensive process. I would say that this is now on track, Peter, to be the largest airlift in U.S. history. And that is bringing American citizens.
She is smiling now. This is the largest airlift in U.S. history.
And that is bringing American citizens out. It is bringing our Afghan partners out. It is bringing allies out. No, I would not say that is anything but a success.
It's nothing but a
how
success.
could you say it's anything but a success?
It's nothing
it
but
seems to be going well to
Absolutely. By the way, is an airlift when you put stuff to go away? Or is it when you
drop stuff off
so that you can survive, like in West Berlin? Airlift. Idiots. It doesn't matter. That's fine. What else is going on? What other prison camps is Jamie B going to in Australia?
Sorry, I just had it. Hang on. So there's the Wellcamp prison camp that Australia's building. Let's see. Sorry, Phil, Tom.
Jen Psaki says it's not a day for politics directly after Joe Biden tried to partially blame Trump for troops dying in Afghanistan.
Sorry, I had another
Okay,
Australia
thank you, everyone.
story. Good news for Jamie.
Having Secretary Austin focus on a stand down to address extremism in the military, or Mark Milley saying that the greatest threat to democracy in our country was people who believe in election fraud. You haven't bet. I mean.
So another Australia story. Good news for Jamie B. Once he is fully vaccinated, he will be granted new freedoms, too. In New South Wales, they're going to be having new freedoms there. Once they are fully vaccinated, they will be allowed to leave home for an hour of recreation on top of their exercise hour that they're permitted. And in addition, they'll be able to meet 5 other people outdoors.
No worries.
So 5 people outdoors, and that once you're fully vaccinated. So, yeah, that I think was what I had on that. There was also a big news story today that about a new mental health problem that apparently has become a problem for some men during the pandemic. Did you hear about this?
Is it low T?
No, it's in fact it's called muscle dysmorphia.
Oh no.
And it's an eating disorder wherein men obsess about dieting and appearance. Sufferers of muscle dysphoria are hyperfixated on building muscle and looking ripped.
That's
and
me.
They often have weight and or muscle goals.
That's the dog, dude. That's
Well,
the
you
T-unit.
you didn't know you had a mental illness.
Yes, I do.
It's
What do I
called-
get for it?
Experts say muscle dysmorphia can ruin lives. More than 90% of adolescent males report exercising to increase muscle mass or tone. And 26% of males report overly rigid dietary rules.
Mm-hmm.
See, dieting is a mental illness. So if you're a man and you've been working out and trying to get ripped and looking good, that's actually a mental illness and a problem. Of course, if you want surgery to drastically change your body because you don't like what it looks like, that's definitely not mental illness and is completely fine and should be celebrated. But if you want to change your appearance by going to the gym and drinking protein shakes, that is a mental illness. So just so you know, mental health update. Those of you who need to seek help for trying to get ripped, there is help out there. Please text a crisis hotline or something. Don't work out. Don't overwork out too much, and I hope you'll be okay. It's also Women's Equality Day, as Nancy Pelosi celebrated. I have a new piece on Tom's Substack about it, in which I don't quite say that some women maybe shouldn't have been allowed to vote.
Alice, too
I
soon.
get close a little bit, a tiny bit, because, some people are just badly behaved. But you can check that out on Tom's Substack if you haven't. That's tomshattuck.substack.com. But yeah, I mean, it's hard to focus on anything else really except the horrific situation in Afghanistan.
Well, let me see what's going on around the country, Alice, all right?
Okay.
Okay. Ready?
Mm-hmm. I'm ready.
It's all terrible stuff.
Okay.
And it's more terrible stuff. I told you I touched the Titanic. Did you know that?
I didn't know you had touched the Titanic. Well, here's a happy story to cheer you up, Tom. In Newburyport, a family who lost their beloved dog has set up a little free library in honor of their dog, but instead of books, it has tennis balls.
It's good enough for the hit from the newspaper. Now you can take it down, by the way. It's a dumb idea. That's fine. That's great. That's great. A woman injured by following Ohio roller coaster piece, fighting for her life. Alice, what's the rule about roller coasters?
You don't like them.
You don't ever go on a roller coaster, ever.
They can be fun.
They're not fun. Don't be stupid, Alice. I didn't mean that. I'm sorry.
It's Women's Equality Day, honey. How dare you?
Yeah, I've been I've been around too long, Alice, to tell you. You don't go in any of those.
I've been on roller coasters.
You're not going in. You know what? You can still go on if you want. Do you have insurance? Life insurance?
I think a little bit. I think I signed up for some through your
All right, so how's
new
next
benefits.
week going to be better? By the way, I've asked since the 9/11 thing is coming on, I've asked 2 people I've known to come on with me and I've gotten the double blow-off, kid. I got
Wow.
I'm getting blow-offs for left and right. It's like, it reminds me of anti-aircraft guns, just like shooting down fighter jets in the sky. The way I'm getting shot down. I got shot down from Tucker's people. Shot down from Ben.
Not Shapiro.
Yes, Shapiro's people.
Oh.
And now,
Wow.
right, and now I'm getting the Balo from Andy Card. You know what the Balo is?
I don't know what the Balo is.
Blown off. That's from Dudsy, Balo. And I'm getting Deborah Burlingame, you know her, whose brother Chick was one of the pilots on 9/11, is blowing me off too. Now, I understand why these people would be dreading more than anything the 20th anniversary of 9/11 to have to talk about these stories, so I don't blame them at all.
Mm-hmm.
But how do you like your old Jules, kid?
That's fine.
I think it scratches an itch. It doesn't scratch the itch, but it scratches an itch. Kind of going through the motions, right?
I don't know if that works. Do they make non-alcoholic spiked seltzers?
I guess it would just be seltzer.
I
Although
guess
spiked
so.
seltzers taste like perfume.
Do they make non-alcoholic spiked seltzers that get you buzzed?
Let me tell you something. You know what's funny, Alice? I went to the to Market Basket for this, and she carded me. The thing said to card.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, that was interesting. Yeah, that didn't work, and then I spent $6 on 47 pounds of cake, which usually, had these been real beers, I would polish off this evening. But I don't think I necessarily will. I feel like we have to deliver something of import to folks. I mean, this has been, you guys know, this has been a terrible week, and we're just trying not to. I can't do it. I mean, I can't keep hearing from CENTCOM people and keep hearing from people on the ground and keep hearing from. It's just a terrible place to be. I mean, we just know this preordained emergency, a tragedy. Tragedy does not imply malicious. So I need a better word than tragedy, Alice. It's like abomination.
Yeah.
And that there are plots waiting to be filled in Arlington Cemetery that will be filled based on the incompetency that we've seen in the last month and that we're going to see in the next days.
Well,
And
and
it's
it's going to be
needless.
justified to us on the basis of saying that it saved troops' lives, even though it's patently not true
What
now.
a horrific thing to say.
That's
Isn't
what, yeah. Like, that he's still going to go out there and it was time to end a 20-year war. Well, is this ending it, or is this causing a new war to start?
Yeah, that's not what happened here. What we've done is we've created a new worldwide hub for terrorism based on a historic event that will motivate these people for decades to come. Decades.
I hate to be dark, but
Mm-hmm.
this presidency has gone so badly, so quickly, that I really, hope we make it to the midterms.
Yeah, and you know what's funny? 'Cause,
Just, as a country, because it's a little
we've got
disturbing.
friends and loved ones who hated Trump and were like, disgusting. You could tell, like, some were where we were at wonderful occasions would be like, I just wish it was happening better times. And you wonder if they're seeing things like this and they're not they're not posting about it, they're not doing whatever. And I hope they notice the darkness that's happening. I know that all the mean tweets are gone, etc. But that was not darkness. That was just jerkiness.
Well, right. And so I said this to you today too, but it's been on my mind because I'm the type of person that I'm not naturally a big Trump person. Trump was not my pick in the primary. He was not my pick. But I held my nose. I voted for Trump, but I could see a world in which I could have been convinced to not vote for Trump possibly, because I just don't find him appealing personally. He's not my thing. But I held my nose and I voted for Trump, and I'm really glad I voted for Trump because I would be so embarrassed right now if I had voted for this total incompetent, unempathetic jerk who's ruining the country right now. Ruining
Yeah,
it.
I totally agree.
So divisive. He's getting people killed. It's terrible. I'm so glad I didn't vote for him or whatever. But I understand why the Never Trump people are trying so hard to defend this because it's embarrassing for them that they voted for this and caused this to happen. but it really is on them, and it's their bad behavior that, that led to this. Like, congrats, guys. The adults are back in charge. You got what you wanted.
Right.
The rest of the world respects us again.
Right. Yeah. Big time.
Oh, thank you so much, everybody. Hopefully it will be a better week next week. We will be back on Sunday. This Sunday is our end of the month Patreon live stream. You can join us at patreon.com/burnbarrel if you are interested in subscribing to that. And then we're also on Twitter at Burn Barrel Pod, Facebook.com/Burn Barrel, burnbarrelpodcast.com.